Hey everybody, it's Preston Clark, CEO and co-founder of SimpleDocs. I'm going to take a few minutes today to show you 5 ways to streamline routine contracts using SimpleDocs. If you don't have an account yet, please head on over to simpledocs.com to create one. If you do have one, I encourage you to log in. All of the features I'm going to cover today are inside your instance of SimpleDocs. Here are the 5 topics I'm going to cover. I'm going to speak through these quickly, and then I'll show you a live presentation on how to bring them to life within your organization. Number 1, let's let your business teams create and send contracts using SelfServe Access with one click. You may be using some sort of open file sharing system today. You may have your templates documented someplace where the business teams can go access them. That's not the level of control you want. That's not the level of efficiency you want for larger organizations, especially if you have 10 or more, 20 or more people who are responsible for getting those documents, populating them, and sending them out. I encourage you to transition from a sort of a legacy file sharing model and into something that is workflow based like SimpleDocs. I'm going to show you how to do this in just a minute. We do it for any routine contract type, MSA, cloud service agreement, NDA, etc. Number 2, I encourage you to leverage AI-powered playbooks to accelerate routine contract review based on your own playbooks. We enable this. This is the future, right? We're seeing this advertised and promoted everywhere. We're certainly not the only ones to do it. I think we do it a bit simpler than others, and I think the fact that it's integrated into our core platform makes it unique. But I encourage you to do this because your paralegals, your junior associates, whomever, should not be spending time applying a spreadsheet playbook or something that's in their head against a routine document that they're negotiating multiple times a week. Let's move in to the 21st century with SimpleAI. Give it a try. It is available within your account today. Number 3, I encourage you to invite your counterparties to negotiate directly within the review and sign experience. And what this is designed to do is streamline your most routine points of negotiation. You may disagree with this. In fact, you may say you don't have a use case for this, and you may in fact be right. But I would encourage you, if it's an NDA, a CDA, an agreement that the same points are being negotiated over and over again, let's open this up for in-app negotiations for the counterparty. They may ignore it. They may download the document and redline it and send it back to you. But if 10 or 15% of the time we can get them to propose changes within the app, things like jurisdiction, confidentiality period, purpose, definition, these are things that should be happening in a more streamlined fashion, and they shouldn't require traditional redlining in order to get to the finish line. So I'll show you how that works in just a moment. Number 4, this one also may be controversial. Let your counterparties initiate the contract process. And the second part in particular, stop attaching Word templates to your emails. Listen, for complex negotiations, this is the preferred way to send agreements, and it makes sense. Please find our draft attached, and let's start the redlining process. But in the case of high volume contracts, where less than 50% of the time negotiations are taking place, the reason that you're sending the document across is not to open a negotiation dialogue. It's so that they can populate the company name and the signer information or whatever it may be. That is an archaic process that is probably adding days to your negotiation process or to your contracting process. And again, this isn't universal. This isn't for all contracts, but the ones that are the most routine, the ones that are most standard, the ones that are negotiated the least, let's let the counterparty initiate the process. And so what that looks like is we're going to send them a link in an email that's going to come from your corp team, your corp dev team, your sales team, whatever it may be. But I encourage you to move into that realm because you'll get to signature much, much faster. And the counterparty is going to be thrilled too because they don't have to then open the doc, populate it, send it back, etc. Last but not least, let's measure the speed to signature. Let's give you visibility into what's working and what's not working for each of your workflows, for each of your contract types, right? Your CDA, your MSA, your cloud service agreement. Let's give you visibility that says, here's how long on average it's taking to get to signature. Here's where it's getting held up. This is good for you. It's also good visibility for the rest of the business. I'm sure your CFO, your CEO, or other are putting pressure on you saying, hey, what's your efficiency strategy? What's your AI strategy? Let's show them the results with our insights dashboard. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to cover all 5 of these very, very quickly. If you'd like a live demo of any of these, you can, of course, reach out to us. There's a big demo button on the homepage at SimpleDocs.com. Click that. Someone will reach out to you. Okay. Let's jump right in. First things first, we're going to talk about SelfServe Access. Everything runs through our workflows. You should have 1 or more workflows already preloaded. You can create custom workflows. We can help you do this. So if you have an MSA or a cloud service agreement that you would like loaded into your instance, reach out and we'll get it set up. But for our purposes today, how I want you to think about this is you have 2 jobs. You have the configuration of the workflow, which means we're going to turn your standard into an automation, and those come down to setting the terms and the parts of the agreement that might be negotiable to the extent that we're going to use in-app negotiations. There's a few settings that relate to who can modify it, who can propose changes, who can request that for one of these documents to go out. These are some baseline configurations that should be very easy for you to set up. You're going to add who the legal approver is going to be to the extent that you have one. And of course, you're going to add who your signer is going to be. Once this is set up, you are done and you are ready. And so now what happens here, this is the workflow we just reviewed. You now have a link, and this link can be shared via Slack, via Teams, via your intranet. This now becomes the front door for this document. And so now your business teams, and I'll show you what this link looks like. Your business teams will now immediately, via single sign-on, or we have our own version of single sign-on if you don't have that set up, they'll immediately go into an experience like this where all they have to do is complete a few fields, and at that point, the document is immediately sent for review and for signature. So SelfServe Access, set this up for any document type. I encourage you to get started today. Leverage AI-powered playbooks. Okay, this is a newer feature for us, but a really powerful one and a very popular one, as you might imagine. How this works, I'm going to show you now. We're going to jump over to Microsoft Word. You can do this for any playbooks that you currently use within your organization. So it could be you have an MSA playbook or a cloud services playbook, whatever you are negotiating in high frequency. And how this is going to work is that we're going to turn your playbook into an AI-powered tool. I have a non-disclosure agreement up on the screen here. I have a playbook already preloaded. And so I'm just going to show you what it looks like. You may have seen this already, but I encourage you to play with this and then let us know how we can bring your own playbook into it. We can implement this in the same day for any number of playbooks you have. And if you don't have a formal playbook, but you do have the rules either in your head or documented somewhere, we'll send you a checklist, a sheet that you will reply back with. It'll give us some detail, and we, within hours, can have your playbooks implemented. Okay, I'm going to run this playbook now. Let me regenerate the results. What you're going to see on the left is the document. On the right, you're going to see the analysis of the document and the results and the recommendations for changes and red lines. The issues are being identified. Looks like there's 2 issues so far. Now we have 3. And each of these can be edited, can be accepted, can be rejected. So in this case, let's see what we have here. It looks like we have indemnity. As a matter of policy, we don't accept indemnity within our non-disclosure agreements. So I'm going to go ahead and strike that entirely and apply changes. And as you can see, that now has been struck from the document. Non-solicitation, same thing. Let me apply those changes. And you can even see here, I'll close this out for a second so you can see it. For many of these, we have comments preloaded as well. So any playbook you can imagine we can do this for, but it's a very streamlined way to take a set of rules, leveraging AI to streamline the redlining review process. Okay, so that is number 2. Let's keep rolling here. Let me jump back into it. Number 3, invite your counterparty to negotiate directly in the review and sign flow. What the heck does that mean? So it means that in the instance where you have, I'm going to go and find an in-progress non-disclosure agreement. I'm going to grab a link to that document. And now what you will see here is a user experience that includes both the ability to assign, so the counterparty can sign it right now if they're ready, which is really powerful, by the way, right? So here's the document. You can download the document, and you can also assign to someone else, or you can propose changes. And so what we're going to look at now is the proposed change experience. Of course, you're going to have agreement types that you say, Preston, we can't do this. There's too many core issues. We don't want them negotiating, or we don't want to invite them to negotiate business terms or term length. Or there could be several things that are off limits. But to the extent that over time you've seen the same issues getting negotiated over and over again, and for many of these issues they may have marginal risk, I would encourage you to invite the counterparty within the application as I have now. So for me, I'm going to change the confidentiality period to 3. I'm going to change governing law to Florida, and then I'm going to send these back to the sender. And so what I've effectively done is I've skipped over a traditional red line process in exchange for, or instead of, something that is now much more streamlined. And the counterparty, or the sending party in this case, can reject these, they can accept them, but if they do accept, these now immediately get routed for review and signature. So that's another thing to keep in mind. I encourage you to test this out in app negotiations, number 3. Number 4, let your counterparties initiate the contract process and stop attaching Word templates to your emails. I said this at the beginning, I'm going to reiterate it really quickly here. Please, for routine agreement types where you're primarily sending the document so that the counterparty can complete a form or complete the fields, you're adding days to your process. In isolation, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. In aggregate, it's a huge deal. Send a link. What these look like is what's on my screen now. Imagine your logo here, Global Fish Co. It's my fake organization. The name of the document, some instructions that maybe you'll be giving to a counterparty. All they have to do is complete their information. In this case, it's a form. What is their name, the signer, their company name, their address, and then immediately they're going to hit submit, at which point the document is routed for review and signature. Now you may say, but Preston, what if they don't want to sign right away? They don't have to. All we're asking them to do is to populate the document, to prepare the document, at which point they can download it, they can redline it, so they can still go through the whole process. But I really challenge you here, if you're only seeing red lines occur 10 to 20% of the time for any particular document, that means that 80 to 90% of the time they're ready to sign right now. But we're not giving them the ability to do that. And with this mechanism, they can both do historical or traditional redlining, but more importantly, they can move straight to signature should that be their preferred plan, which, I think for 80 to 90% for many of your contracts probably fall into that category. Okay, we're almost done here. Number 5, measure the speed to signature for each routine contract to identify bottlenecks and to flex your efficiency gains in the business. What is this to the business? What does this mean? It means that with SimpleDocs, if you haven't seen this recently, log in to check it out. But what it's going to give you is a speed to sign analysis for each of your workflows. So you can see the number of days. Hopefully it's under 1. You're going to see total requests, you're going to see total completed, and then you're going to see a breakdown of time to see if the delay, if it's 2 days as an average, is most of that the result of internal delays, maybe your internal signer is taking too long, or is it attached to the external party? And in either case, that's great visibility for the business so that you can show how you're creating more efficiency around legal. But it's also great for you to figure out where you might improve your processes to get to signature faster. Okay, that is it. That is the 5 ways to streamline routine contracts with SimpleDocs. Log into your account today to get started. All of these are available to you. Good luck. If you have questions, you can always email me at preston@simpledocs.com or request a demo. There's a big orange demo button at the top of simpledocs.com. Talk soon. Thank you.